Hi, everyone. I'm trying something different today. I'm usually doing things via my computer or using Facebook, but today I'm using StreamYard and I'm going directly through my cell phone, trying to get better picture quality, trying to get better phone or microphone access. And also, I'm trying to avoid seeing so much craziness in the backyard. Actually, let me try to move this a bit more there because the behind me is so messy because we just moved into our house, our apartment but on the 1st December, and we're still trying to check in. But overall, I wanted to be able to talk to you directly because seeing my face and not being distracted by everything behind me, I thought it might be very important. So I would like to welcome you. If you haven't met me before, my name is Sarah Gallagher. I am the founder of this group, Widowed Solo Parents. I am a former project manager. I am also a mother of two young kids, one who is 10 and the other one who's 5. The younger one was 2.5 when my husband unexpectedly died, and my younger wasn't even born yet. And I'm also a grief coach, which is why I'm here to be able to help you figure out what your next steps in life are, what exactly life means for you, what your new identity is going to be like, and how to find your inspired notion again. And because I'm a widow, I've been 7 years now a widow. I've been a solo parent all that time. And I know exactly what you've been going through. And every Wednesday, I'm here to tell you some more actionable items to help you figure out what your next steps in life can be and how to get there, tackling certain things that every widower and widow goes through. And this one particularly is when people ask you how you're feeling. Now, this is a tough one because, well, they're all tough, but this one's particularly tough because, first of all, if they ask you, which is very difficult, or it doesn't even necessarily happen, because as you probably have noticed, the first little while when you first lose your husband or wife, everybody comes out of the woodwork. They come and support you. They make sure that you're okay. They try to lift you up, and more especially, they want to hear your side of the story. They want to hear how you're feeling. They want to know how much you cared for them. They want you to make a big speech at the funeral or at the wake. But for you at this point, all you are is shell shocked. You don't even know what's going on. This is brand new to you. You've just been thrown into this world. And it's like this whirlwind. And all of a sudden, you're expected to speak up about everything you're feeling and everything you want to say about your dead spouse. And it can be overwhelming. So, and having all those people there supporting you, it sounds very familiar. It can be fantastic too if you have that advantage of that happening. Because for some people, they don't even have that support. But let's go forward. So you have dealt, you've been there, the funeral has happened, the wake has happened, people wanted to hear your side of the story, you've said it, and all of a sudden well, not all of a sudden, in about a week or two, they kind of go off in their own lives because they have said their tribute to your husband or wife. They've said their respects, and that's it. They wash their hands of it and they go on with their lives. Meanwhile, you are here trying to figure out what exactly is going on. You have started to adjust to the fact that you are living in this new life. In fact, in most cases, you're not even adjusting. You're just in this, again, this shell shock, this widow's fog, understanding where exactly is going on. Why isn't your husband or wife coming in through that door? Why aren't they texting me? What is going on? And it's so much. It's so much. And that's what grief is. Grief isn't, and people might think that grief is all about sadness and crying and all these deep bad feelings, and it is that, but it is all these other feelings too. All the feelings that could ever happen all happen at the same time, and they hit you like a tsunami, and then they fade away and you're numb again and they hit you again. So when people ask you how you're feeling, it can be very difficult to put that into words because there is so much going on. So much going on that you can't even describe it. And it also becomes tricky because those people who were at your funeral, they're not there anymore, right? They're not supporting you anymore. So if someone after the funeral comes up to you and says, "Hey, how are you feeling?" sometimes it happens that when you talk about even what really that is, like, how are you doing? You say, well, I didn't sleep well last night because I was thinking too much about all the things I have to do on my own tomorrow. And oh yeah, I woke up because I usually wake up at 4 o'clock because my husband or my wife is sleeping beside me, but I woke up this time and I had a freak out because I couldn't hear their breathing anymore. And that took me about a few seconds to realize they're not there anymore. And you start going into these things, and the person's eyes glaze over, or maybe they kind of look shell shocked and scared by this, and they kind of ease away from it because they don't want to have to deal with this, right? So, for a lot of us, when we hear the idea of how are you doing or how are you feeling, because we get that glaze over look so often, or people who just shut down the conversation so quickly, it's hard for us to even want to share any of what we're feeling because they don't really want to know, do they? They don't really want to know everything that you're going through because they don't want to deal with it. They're afraid that to listen to you, that they're going to be overwhelmed and they don't want it to be catching and to hurt you, hurt them, right? So you learn because of these reactions that you get that you're not going to say anything. So you just say, I'm fine, or I could be better, or I'm dealing, or, you just kind of glaze over it because you don't want to go into the nitty gritty of exactly what is going on, how you're really feeling. And how are you feeling? Probably a lot of different things. Probably a lot of different, again, different feelings. You could be different going through periods of time where you don't even know, you realize that you forget things that you relied on your husband or wife for, and that can make you feel very defeated. That can make you feel like you miss them, but more than just a missing of a physical sense. You actually miss having their support there. There's a whole bunch of different things you can feeling, and it's very difficult to be able to express this to somebody who hasn't gone through it. When I was doing some research for this, one of the things that came up again and again and again is that you cannot understand what a widow goes through unless you're a widow yourself, which is why it's so important that having groups like this and having my coaching situations available for you are so important, because people get in these groups and I understand exactly what you're feeling and how to get you through to the next step. We emphasize, we understand completely, we don't pander to you, which is very important. But for those people who do want to ask you, or if they even do ask, if they say, hey, how are you feeling? Hey, how can I help? I know for a lot of you, you would love to be able to say, okay, I'm overwhelmed. Here, come help me out. But you don't know how to say that, right? There's just too much. And you don't want to seem like you're always asking for something. They are always going to be the widow, because you're more than that, right? You're more than just a widow. You are so much of what your ambitions are, what your hobbies are, what your kids are like, what you want to do next. And even if you don't know what to do next, be able to just go on with life itself, like going to grocery shopping or going to take the kids to the park. These are all normal things you have to deal with as you're feeling all the different feelings underneath that. And trying to explain that to somebody is very difficult. So when somebody asks you, hey, how are you doing? How can I help? It can be an overwhelm. So one of the things I put together is this idea of what you can give to those people who are asking, if they ask. And if they don't ask, to be able to put it up on your own little social blog or your Facebook or your Pinterest or whatever. So if someone asks, if people come to you, you can say, hey, these are the kind of things, if you want to approach me, this is what you need to know. And let me go through them. So the first thing you want to do, what you want is you want someone to listen. Just listen, be there for you. You want them to sit with you as you unleash all these different feelings that you have around you. You don't want anybody to kind of butt in or give some unsolicited advice. You don't want them to do anything but just to sit there and maybe respond to your feelings with sympathy. They won't understand it, so they can't give you true empathy. But for them to actually say, okay, I wish I could help you. I don't understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you. Whatever you need. Actually, don't even say that, because whatever you need is too open-ended. And this is the next thing. If you want your friends to help you, they have to give you the idea of, when they sit with you with your feelings, they can't give you any pity. No pity. You are somebody so much more than a widow, right? And you want to be seen as more than that. You want them to treat you as normally as possible, because you do have this life around grief. They need to know that it's okay not to know what to do if you get upset, not to know exactly how to fix things if you're crying, because you can't really fix anything right now. Grief isn't something that you can fix. The grief is, again, it's all these different things that you have to deal with for the rest of your life, because as much as you love your person, you will grieve for them probably for forever, just in different capacities. But to know that it's okay, that if you get upset, that they can sit there with you as you are upset, as you are crying. Just be there. Don't try to fix anything. Now, I know it's also it can feel guilty for you to be able to ask for help, right? Because again, there's so much to go on. There's so much of those little tiny things that you need someone to be there for you. Someone to be there for you and know exactly what you wanted without even having to ask, because your husband or wife knew you so well. So when your people ask you, what can I do? Try to ask them to turn it to the other way. The fact that you need them to offer up specific suggestions for what they can do for you. If they can come to your house and help you clean it once a week or once a month, if they can come drop off some groceries for you every now and again, just specific things for what they can do to help. This is what you need, because again, there's so much going out there that you can't pick and choose for them. You need them to find something specific to help you. How they can help. They can walk with you, go for a chore with you. They can sit with you and around a coffee table, and just have a chat. They can help go grocery shopping, and when you come back from grocery shopping, make dinner and eat it with you. Just, again, this is just being part of your life, right? Just being part of you, being there, being witnessed to, knowing that they can depend on you for that. Just knowing that there's other things out there, other people out there to connect to, because it's going to be so important. They need to know that it's okay for them to talk about your dead spouse. And in fact, it might be very nice for them to talk about them, because you are thinking about them all the time. And if they can talk about them, that not only this gives you a sense of relief, because then you're not the only one trying to remember them and think about them and hang on to that life they have, because their legacy shouldn't be their death, right? Their legacy, they have such a glorious life. There's so much to talk about, right? And that they just shouldn't need to worry about reminding you about them, because you would think about them all the time. They shouldn't worry about reminding you that you're upset, you're in grief, because you're already there, right? Just talk about them. It's okay. In fact, we probably really appreciate it. They need to know that it's okay to say, okay, let's sit the kids out. Let's go somewhere together. Hey, and don't say in a patronizing way. Don't in a obviously you need help kind of way. More the idea is, we're going to the movies and we'd like to know if you and your kids would like to come. Just something like that. We are going to do this. Would you like to join us? And then be there, show up when you are there, right? That's how they can be there for you when you're feeling all the feelings. When they're there with you and they're talking to you, they have to know that they have to stop saying, I don't know how you do it, or you're so strong. These things we hear all the time. And it's frustrating, because we know this. We don't really have a choice. We don't have a choice to be strong or not be strong, because this is our life. This is our life now, and this is how we have to deal with it. So you reminding us that, oh, we're so strong, or I don't know how you do it, it's patronizing. It really is. And it doesn't come across as helpful whatsoever. This is our life. We need compassion, not pity. There's a huge difference there. Very fine line, but a huge difference. And tell them it's important to connect over the calendar year. One of the things that really come up a lot, and unfortunately it's very typical, is that once the funeral happens, people seem to fade away into the background, right? And they can't deal with being there for you because they have their own lives. But when people are asking you how you're feeling, and you want to say, hey, I just want human connection, right? I just want to know that there's someone there. Or maybe you're one of the other people, or the widows, who push away the outside world because you don't feel like you're a part of it anymore, right? You don't want everything's rushing around so quickly, and it's just you and your grief and all the emptiness, and you don't really feel like you're on that same pathway, the same timeline anymore. So it's very easy to kind of push away from the outside world, stop talking to your friends, which makes you feel even more isolated than ever. So if people ask you how you're feeling and how they can help, you can say, hey, you know what? Check in every couple months. Just reach out to know that you are thinking of them. They are thinking of you. Sorry, that was bad. Eventually, if they continue doing this for a while, then eventually you will come out of your shell when you're ready. Now, this is just a very simple kind of, this is the things that you can tell your friends and family what they can do to help. Because when they ask you how you're feeling, again, it's just so much for you to be able to quantify into a 2-word sentence. There's just so much going on that it's too hard to. So if you really need someone to help, I'm going to get together this list. I'm going to post it for you probably in the comments tomorrow. And I'll also put it in the resource section. So if you need it, it's there for you. And if you have any other comments or any other things that you'd like to say to yourself about what you're feeling, or how you react when people talk to you about how you're feeling, or what you'd like them to know, let me know. And I'm going to add it to this list because I think it's important to normalize grief, not just for you, but for the world out there. And if we can do this one step at a time, like one little resource at a time, for us as well as for our friends and family who are trying to be there and they really don't understand. They really don't until they've been there. So hopefully by putting together this little list of the things that they can do to help, the things they can do instead of asking how you're feeling, how they can react instead, what they can say instead, because you don't really need to hear that. You need more quantifiable, actionable things. You need to know that they are there, because the last thing you need to know is that you're alone. It's isolating enough as is. If you do need help, I am here as a grief coach. I do have one-on-one coaching. I have my 6-month program. I'd love to help you if you need help. Give me a DM, book yourself a calendar call. All right. I hope this worked out well. This is the first time I've actually been using my camera, so it's a little shaky. I'm hoping the quality turned out well. I love you all. I'll talk to you later. See you next Wednesday.